A weekend of religious violence in a city in the United Kingdom has highlighted how religious polarization in India is impacting South Asian communities abroad. We're talking of Leicester here, a beautiful multicultural city in the east of England with a sizable South Asian community. This comprises people from both India and Pakistan. That is, both Hindus and Muslims. Now, over the weekend, young men from both communities attacked each other on the streets, and one of the causes of the violence can be traced more than 4,000 miles away in India. But first, here's what happened. Tensions began in earnest in late August after India defeated Pakistan in an international cricket match in Dubai. Groups of fans ended up clashing with each other in Leicester, fueled by nationalistic sentiment, made worse by social media disinformation. And last Saturday, the city saw a sudden and unannounced march by young men through the streets. The problem, as you will hear in this video sourced from Twitter, they were chanting religious slogans that have come to be associated with India's Hindu right wing. Now, just to be clear, what they are chanting there is Hail Lord Ram. Now, Ram is one of Hinduism's most revered gods. But over the years, this chant in his name has been usurped by right-wing Hindus as an assertion of a muscular and aggressive Hindu identity in India. So it didn't take long for a reaction. Videos emerged on Twitter of a flag outside a Hindu temple in the city being torn down. Young men from the Muslim community also gathered to protest the unplanned march where Hindu slogans that you just heard were raised. Now, taken together, all of this follows a familiar template of religious provocation and response seen in India in recent years, following a majoritarian brand of Hindu politics by the ruling BJP. The violence in Leicester was in fact serious enough for the Indian High Commission in the UK to issue a strong condemnation and call for action against those involved. And action was taken. Police had arrested up to 47 people till Monday and also discovered that some of the perpetrators had travelled to Leicester from other cities in England to fuel the violence. It prompted the Mayor of Leicester, Sir Peter Soulsby, to say the following to the Guardian newspaper. I quote, "I have talked to many people across the communities since this trouble began, and they are utterly baffled by this. It does not represent anything that is simmering in Leicester and does seem to have more to do with subcontinental politics." So is all this all really connected? Let's get more from Ashok Swain, Professor of Peace and Conflict Research at Uppsala University in Sweden. Professor Swain, is the violence in Leicester connected to the right-wing majoritarian politics we're seeing in India right now?
You see, the Leicester is a city which has been living, the Hindus and Muslims, there has been a large number of immigrants coming from India as well as Pakistan and other countries, but the Hindus and Muslims living amicably in that city for a long period of time. What we see since last month, there has been a regular violence taking place, and it started with a match India-Pakistan played, and after that there was this kind of usuals after match the sports fan do the procession, but then it turned the India-Pakistan to Hindu-Muslims, and this kind of violence which has been continuing now and also getting people from the other parts of the city to coming there. What we see the difference is that for the first time we saw that is this Hindu groups or Hindu right-wing groups are also, or the language which is being used in this violence, the Hindu right-wing groups are language which was used in, or which continues to be used in India now. And so the kind of things which we are looking at it in the other parts of the world where the diaspora has gone, particularly we saw in Australia, the kind of conflict going on between the Hindu diaspora and other diaspora like Muslims and Sikhs. In the US, it's a similar type of thing, but those are very sporadic incidents. But here, it's now for more than a month this is going on, and that's quite looks like much more faster it has come. That kind of incidents coming from Indian side, the Hindu-Muslim kind of rivalry, to now has arrived in the Europe.
Now, you're someone who looks at right-wing politics in India quite closely. Why is this impacting Indian origin communities thousands of miles away from India?
You see, though, there is a different time period the migrants have come from India, and the migrants, those particularly who came before, they used to live together because there was no such difference even between Indian migrants and Pakistani migrants. They were all being, living amicably. There was a problem of Hindu and Muslim migrants were also not there, but it gradually started since '92. I think when the Ram Janmabhoomi movement, which is against the Babri Mosque, which started in India. After that, I think we saw there is the way it started dividing the diaspora, Indian diaspora, to the Hindu and Muslim diaspora groups. But I think that was a kind of very limited scale, but it had not really reached this kind of violent reactions against each other. What has happened in recent years, there is a number of new migrants, new students, new way of looking for the jobs, and they have migrated to different parts of the world, particularly to England, and also the countries in the developed countries. And with them, they bring those ideas as well. They are bringing this kind of Hindu right-wing, Hindu supremacist ideas, which have taken place in India in a much forceful way in the last 8-9 years. They are bringing with them. And I think they are also getting support from those groups who are in power in India and also the Indian media. So it's a combination of Indian regime support, Indian media support, and the kind of people we are migrating to this part of the world.
We're talking about more than 17 million Indians and people of Indian origin who live in nearly 200 countries. How big is the risk that religious polarization that one is seeing in India spreads to these communities?
It's a huge risk. I think it's not even a risk now. It has gone quite in a big way in different parts of the world. Recently, we saw a major controversy in New Jersey as well. Like there is even the Indian Independence Day parade was going through in a kind of a bulldozer, which is a symbol of oppression of Muslims in India, and that really became a bigger issue. We have, as I was mentioning, these things have really happening quite often in Canada, in Australia, even in places all over Europe. Is taking place quite regularly. What looks like now, because of this situation, which is gaining, particularly the Hindu right-wing groups, those who are gaining the strength, and particularly they are RSS, the RSS and BJP ruling party. They do have their international organizations have been active and spreading all over the world, and they are also recruiting these people. And also, similarly, the Muslim youths are also organized beforehand. So I think it's a very difficult time to see, and this is the situation that we are not really looking forward to, but this is almost inevitable now, that there will be more and more clashes between Hindus and Muslim diasporas of South Asia. But saying that, I also think it is harming Indian interest, not only Indian government's interest, also the people, those who are the Indian diaspora's interest in general.
We'll have to leave it there for the time being, but thank you so much for joining us today, Professor Ashok Swain from Uppsala University in Sweden.
It's my pleasure.